This is California Standards Test Release Questions, Grade 7 Math, Problems 36 through 46. Problem 36. If m equals 3 and n equals 5, what is the value of 4m plus mn? Let's plug in the value for each variable. When you have a number and a variable next to each other, or two variables next to each other, it means to multiply. So 4 times 3 plus 3 times 5. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 times 5 is 15. 12 plus 15 is 27. So your answer is B. Number 37. Which operation will change the value of any non-zero number? A non-zero number in mathematics is a number that does not equal 0. Let's take the number 4 for example, and let's add 0 to it. 4 plus 0 equals 4. Adding 0 to a number does not change it. Let's multiply 4 by 0. 4 times 0 equals 0. Multiplying by 0 does change it. Let's multiply 4 times 1. It still equals 4. It does not change. And let's divide 4 by 1. It equals 4. It does not change. So the operation that will change the value of any non-zero number is multiplying by 0. The answer is B. Number 38. Which property is used in the equation below? 12 times x plus 4 equals 12x plus 48. If you take the factor 12 and multiply it to the first term inside the parentheses, you get 12 times x equals 12x. If you multiply this factor by the second term within the parentheses, you get 12 times 4, which is equal to 48. So what you're doing with the 12 is you're distributing it to each term within the parentheses. So this is called the distributive property. The answer is C. Number 39. Which expression is equivalent to 3x minus 3y? 3x minus 3y has already been distributed. Let's take the factor of 3 and let's multiply it to x minus y. This is what it looks like before it has been distributed. Let's distribute 3 to the first term times x, and then let's distribute 3 times y. You get 3x minus 3y. So the expression that is equivalent to 3x minus 3y is B. Number 40. Which of the following equations illustrates the inverse property of multiplication? The inverse property of multiplication is when you multiply a non-zero number resulting in an answer of 1. A has an answer of 1. I will solve the problem to show you how we arrived at 1. When you multiply a whole number times a fraction, you place a 1 underneath the whole number. And then you multiply across. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. And 5/5 is equal to 1. So this equation illustrates the inverse property of multiplication because it has an answer of 1. The answer is A. Number 41. Which equation shows the distributive property? Let's take a look at A. There's an outside term of 4. If you distribute the 4 and multiply it with the first term within the parentheses, you get 4 times 3, which is equal to 12. Plus, take the outside term and multiply it with the second term within the parentheses, 4 times 6, which is equal to 24. So 4 times 3 plus 6 is equal to 12 plus 24. This equation shows the distributive property. The answer is A. Number 42. Which expression is the result of applying the distributive property to 8 times 100 plus 5? Let's start out by distributing the first term and multiplying it with the first term within the parentheses, 8 times 100, which equals 800. Keep the plus sign, and now let's distribute the outside term to the second term within the parentheses, 8 times 5, which equals 40. 800 plus 40 is the result of applying the distributive property to 8 times 100 plus 5. The answer is D. Number 43. Which property is illustrated by 1/2 times 3/3 equals 3/6? The parentheses here tell us to multiply. And if you look at your answer choices, this one's additive identity. We are not adding here, so it cannot be A. It's not the commutative property. It doesn't show the distributive property, but it does show multiplication. And multiplicative identity means that anytime you multiply a number times 1, it is that number. And you can see that right here. 3 times 1 is 3. So the answer is D. Number 44. Which property is illustrated by 2 times 2x plus 4 equals 4x plus 8? You can distribute the first term to the first term within the parentheses. 2 times 2x equals 4x plus, and then distribute the 2 to the second term within the parentheses. 2 times 4 equals 8. So you're distributing the first term to each term within the parentheses. The answer is B, distributive property. Number 45. Which of the following is an example of an inequality? An inequality is a statement that a mathematical expression is less than or greater than some other expression. Choice B shows 4n is greater than 9. It is the only one that has a greater than or less than sign, so B is the example of an inequality. Number 46. The table shows the charges for renting and racing a go-kart. Grand Prix go-karts. Number of laps. Price in dollars. Which graph best represents these prices? Let's take the number of laps and the price and write them in coordinate pairs. The first coordinate pair is 0, 5. The second is 1, 8. And then 2, 11. 3, 14. 4, 17. 5, 20. Let's take the first coordinate pair of 0, 5 and see which graph has that plotted first. A shows its first point plotted at 0, 0. It cannot be A. B shows its first point plotted at 5, 0. We are looking for 0, 5, so it cannot be B. C shows its first point plotted at 1, 0, so it cannot be C. D shows its first point plotted at 0, 5. There it is. So let's double check with a different coordinate and make sure that this is correct. Let's try the second one, 1, 8. So we're going to walk over 1 and go up 8, and sure enough, there it is. And let's just try one more. Let's try the last one, 5, 20. Let's go over 5, up to 20, and there it is. So D best represents the prices